All frucked up, day 45. Thoughts on the sugar diet for today? Well, consequences of our actions. So, there's a thousand permutations of why a person would be overweight, why they've accumulated fat. And, to some extent, it could be their fault. In other cases, it could be not their fault because of some condition. And then there's that gray area in between where it's like, well, how was this particular human raised? What was their childhood like? What messages did they receive? But yeah, there's consequences for our actions. So, if we eat, and I'm going to use the calorie word, if we eat in a caloric surplus, there's a good chance we're going to accumulate more body fat. If we mix our macros, body fat accumulation. If we emotionally eat, body fat accumulation. You see the trend, you see the pattern. There's all these reasons why we would accumulate excess body fat. And some are as innocuous, and I guess I would put that in air quotes, right? Because it's not really that innocuous to be sedentary. But some are as innocuous as just having a desk job, and think about how many people that apply to. But where I'm going with this video is with all the talk about consequences of our actions, why aren't we talking about consequences of our thoughts? Because thoughts lead to actions. So if we can preemptively get at the root of a problem by addressing the thinking that causes the behavior that leads to bad outcomes, then we can actually do something productive. We can, pause for a moment, be more mindful. Weigh the consequences of a decision. Ask ourselves questions about how are we going to feel if we engage in this particular behavior that we're drawn to in the now present moment. How are we going to feel down the line if we eat this meal and then the scale feedback is not great? So yeah, I think there's an appropriate level of focus for consequences of our actions, but almost no one's talking about the consequences for our thoughts, or the consequences of our thoughts. So perhaps that's an interesting thought exercise to really, instead of talking about consequences of actions, think about the consequences of our thoughts. You know what I'm trying to say. Or at least I think you do. The consequences of our thoughts, because I can make any number of decisions and fail to weigh the outcomes, fail to consider how things might go wrong. All of our thoughts, it's like a pebble in a pond. That ripple effect goes out in all directions, and it could impact more than just our scale feedback. It could impact our mood, our energy, how we interact with other people. I think there's been more than one person on the sugar diet that has commented on how adding the sugar gave them a more even mood. They were happier. They were more, I don't even think tolerance the right word. They were more accepting of other humans, other people. And so yeah, I've probably rambled, like I said, in another video at least, that this evening I'm facing some time constraints and still trying to get the reps and sets in, get the videos done, etc. So with that, I will close. Hopefully this video makes some semblance of sense. If not, you have my apologies, and I will attempt to do better next time. Anyway, hope you had a great day. See ya.